Hello, boys and girls. It's time for another story, and it is so exciting because it's kind of cold and dreary out. We're supposed to have a snowstorm, and that'll be fun because maybe we'll have a snow day. Shh, don't tell anybody though. Today we have a beautiful lady that some of you older ones will remember. She was your teacher probably in kindergarten. But she's a fabulous storyteller, and she was so nice to say, of course I'll read a story to the kiddos. So let me tell you a little bit about, first I'm going to give you her bio, and then I will tell you what book she's going to read today, okay? So her name is Renee Romero, and I have to say she was one of the founding parents, one of the founding mothers of the immersion program at Los Niños in Las Vegas back in, it's been about 24 years ago. 24 years ago. Well, we won't say that because she looks just as beautiful today as she did then. But she was born in Denver, Colorado. And she comes from a long line of Hispanic families from Colorado and Nuevo Mexico. Her parents spoke to her primarily in English as a child, but at the age of 15, she had a desire to learn Spanish fluently and be a teacher. So she started teaching in Colorado more than 40 years ago at the age of 17. Can you believe it? But you know why, too? Because she was a dual speaker. She spoke English and she spoke Spanish, and they were desperately in need of someone to help them out with a dual program. And like I tell you at school, if you know 2 languages, you are worth 2 people. If you know 3 languages, you're worth 3 people. So she started teaching very, very early in age. She's also taught as a Spanish dual language immersion teacher here for 24 years. She has a bachelor's degree in bilingual education from the University of Arizona, and she finished her master's degree from New Mexico Highlands University. It's important, she says, that her students learn about and preserve our culture and language. She says that she believes that knowing about our culture and language will help all of us understand and appreciate ourselves and our neighbors near and far. She's been inspired by many great women, including Dolores Huerta and Sor Juana Inés de la Cruz, and both of these outstanding women have been champions of fairness and equality for men and women and have made important changes in our world. They believed that hard work and dedication will help you achieve your goals. Is that not something else I remind you of all the time too? Remember, si se puede. So today the book that Ms. Romero is going to read for you is called Green Corn Tortillas. And she's going to tell you a little bit more about the book. She'll show it to you, and I think you're just going to love it. It has to do with tamales. So with that, let's welcome Ms. Romero. Renee?
Muchas gracias, señora.
De nada.
Griego.
De nada.
Buenos días, niños. Yo soy Renee Romero, as the kids call me, Señora Romero. Today we're going to listen to a story. It's a very fun story, and it is called Green Corn Tamales. Tamales de Elote. And before we start this story, we're going to do a little bit of review of the vocabulary. Some of the words are be in Spanish, so let's just see if you know some of these words. Ready? The first word, arroz. Do you know what that is? It's rice. The second word, frijoles. I bet you know what those are. Beans. And then we have tortillas. Everybody knows what tortillas are. And we have masa, which is what you're going to need to make these delicious green corn tamales. And we have tamales de elote, which is what these are going to be made out of corn. We have words like mija, my daughter. Nana, do you know what that is? Grandma. We have tata, grandpa. We have tia, aunt. Tío, uncle. Toda la familia, the whole family. And we're going to have words like Yo no, not I. Yo sí, I will. And yo también, me too. Okay, so be listening for those words in the story. And let's get started. Again, the story is called Green Corn Tamales, Tamales de Elote. Story by Gina, Macaluso Rodriguez, illustrations by Gary Shepard. This story was written in Tucson, Arizona. Green Corn Tamales. Tamales de Elote. When my familia visits my nana and my tata in their ranch house on Labor Day weekends, it's green corn tamale making time. All my tios and primos, cousins, they come to the ranch for the big event. This year, after all the hugs and kisses, besos y abrazos, my nana says, "Now who will help me pick the corn in the fields?" "Yo no," says my brother Jaime. "Yo no," says my primo Larry. "Not I," said Tio Jose. But my tata, he said he's going to take all the grandkids out and help pick the corn. Meanwhile, my tias are in the kitchen and they're cleaning the frijoles to cook for dinner. What are they making? Frijoles. Remember that word. When we return to the house, Nana says, "Now who will help me shuck the corn?" "Yo no," said Primo Larry. "Not I," said Tio Jose. "Yo no," says Tata. So remember, shucking the corn is just peeling all the hojas, all the tamale hojas off of the corn. But my brother, he said he would help shuck the corn, and so did all the primos. And it was so much fun. But watch out for the worms. Meanwhile, my tias were in the kitchen making a big pot of arroz. What were they making? Arroz. Do you remember what they were making first? Frijoles. After the corn was washed, Nana asked, "Now, who will help me cut the corn off of the cob?" "Not I," said Tio Jose. "Yo no," said Tata. "Yo no," said Brother Jaime. But my primo Larry, he picked up a knife and began to cut the corn off the cob. And since the knives are so sharp, none of the other cousins wanted to help or could help. So we all went out to play. Meanwhile, my tias got down the flour and they began to make, can you guess? Tortillas. So what's the first thing they made? Frijoles. The second thing, arroz. And now they're making tortillas. After all the corn was off of the cob, Nana asked, "Now, who will help me grind the corn?" "Yo no," said Tata. "Not I," said Brother Jaime. "Yo no," said Primo Larry. Tio Tio Jose said he would gather all the primos, all the cousins. So we lined up so that we could all take turns at the grinder. Meanwhile, my tias gathered all the ingredients to make capirotada. That's bread pudding. What's the first thing our tias made? Frijoles, and then arroz, and then tortillas, and now they're making capirotada. You see the grinder? There's the grinder for grinding the corn. After grinding and grinding, oh, we all had sore arms. But the corn was very well ground. And then Nana said, "Who will help me mix the masa?" So all my tias came into the kitchen and we mixed the masa. Then they skillfully spread the masa on the washed corn husks. On each one, they put a slice of cheese, queso, a slice of freshly roasted chile verde, green chili, and they folded it into a shape of a tamal. The tamales were ready to be placed in the pot to cook. Now it's time for a break. When the tamales were all done, Nana said, "Now who will help me eat the tamales?" "I will," said Tata. "Yo sí," said Brother Jaime. "Me too," said Primo Larry. "Yo también," said Tio Jose. "But Nana," I said, "Tata didn't help shuck the corn." "No," said Nana, "but he did help pick the corn." "But Nana, my brother Jaime didn't help grind the corn." "No," said Nana, "but he did help shuck the corn." "But Nana, my primo Larry didn't help pick the corn." "No," said Nana, "but he did help cut the corn off the cob." "And Nana, Tio Jose didn't help the tias mix the masa." "No," said Nana, "but he did help grind the corn." Everyone in the family helped in some way, mija, so everyone will share. It's always been that way, and that's the way it should be. So we all sat down, toda la familia. We were hungry, but happy children and grown-ups. And what did we eat? Do you remember the first thing the tias made? We ate frijoles, arroz, tortillas, capirotada, and of course, hot, delicious green corn tamales, also known as tamales de elote. The end. Wasn't that a fun story? This story is all about what? Cooperation and helping each other, which is what we should always do. Now, I would like to sing a song for you, but before I do, guess what I have in this basket? It's not frijoles, and it's not arroz, and it's not tortillas, and it's not capirotada. Can you guess? Green corn tamales. Tamales de elote. They smell so good. Yummy. I can hardly wait to try one. Oh, I also have a very fun song for us to sing. It's about tamales. Are you ready? Listen to this. Goes like this. Tamales, tamales. ¿Quién compra tamalitos? tamales, tamales, sabrosos y calentitos. En media docena son 6 y 12 en una docena. Mañana vuelvo otra vez a la hora de la cena. Tamales, tamales, ¿quién compra tamalitos? Tamales, tamales, sabrosos y calentitos. Muchas gracias, boys and girls. Hasta luego.